So today we are joined with the trio, which is fondly known in the Hindi film industry as the Amar Akbar Anthony of music. So very warm welcome to the two-third of the Shankar Ehsaan Loy trio, which is Ehsaan and Loy with us. A very warm welcome to both of you guys to
Thank
FunAsia
you.
Network.
Thank you.
My name is
Thank you.
Rimita, and
Hello.
I'll be taking the interview and taking the conversation forward. So. Uh, I'm going to ask you and take back you to the Dil Chahta Hai days where, when you were composing the album, did you ever feel or realize that you will be creating a soundscape which will be so path-breaking?
Well, we composed the album, like I said, we went out of town and we all got, Javed Akhtar and all of us, and we put the album together. The album felt right for the kind of movie that he was making, and of course, he hadn't started making it. But it felt right also for the kind of person that he is, his personality, knowing that we knew that he'd be coming from a very different headspace.
Mhm.
And we didn't, I mean, it felt great. The album felt good, even listening to it in the rough stage. And everyone who heard it said this is like really, really different. And
Mhm.
that was our benchmark. We said we're not going to we had nothing to say that we're going to try and sound like Rahman or sound like what was contemporary then.
Right,
We just did what we do, and we kind of played the music that we play,
right,
and which is a mixture of rock and classical and everything that we stand for.
right.
And that was it. It became cult, and then it just went on. It's become that kind of thing. It's like a catalog item. It's still on the charts somewhere.
Of course. Still,
Yeah, I feel the advantage is that we had no form per se. No one knew who we were. There was
right,
no, they couldn't put a face to the sound, nothing of that sort.
right.
And we had never, I mean, we probably did one film, I think one film before that,
Yeah,
or two
Yeah.
films before that. But still, when we came in and, we were just free to do whatever we wanted.
right.
There
So,
was no casting, there was nothing set, so that's the advantage. And I must say that the fact that the script and the film that Farhan made also represented a new section of India that existed and had no representation.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, they had no representation at all. There's a whole younger generation that was there, and it was like they were told, hey, you follow the 80s and 90s or whatever, or even 80s or whatever.
Of course.
So I think Farhan came and put that stamp on it and said, hey, here we are.
Right,
And I think
right,
the music did the same thing as well.
right.
Yeah.
And suddenly Bollywood became very cool. It's not about
Yeah.
the way it used to be. The music became cool. The people who didn't listen to that kind of music earlier started listening to it. We were congratulated by how many musicians saying that you give us hope. And these guys were rock musicians. They're not even film musicians.
Right.
So that went on pretty well.
Of course. 2 years later, or 2 to 3 years later, you composed Kal Hona Ho, which eventually led you win the national award for
Yeah.
music. And it was really at the beginning of your career. Let's share the moment when you first heard of, getting the national award for this cult track, Kal Hona, which still gives us goosebumps when we still hear it, and it has the same effect on everyone.
Actually, I was driving back from the recording studio, which is at a place called Century Bhavan.
Mhm.
And I was driving back, and I remember I was passing by the Siddhivinayak Mandir, and when my phone rang, and I picked it up, and there was this girl who used to work with India Today, or one of the same group. I
Mhm.
can't remember the name of the group. And she said that her name was Garima, I remember. She said, I'm Garima here. You guys have won the national award. I said, what are you talking about? Which national award?
Yeah.
Say, no, the current national award. Kal Ho Na Ho has won the national award. I said, are you serious? She said, yeah. And then I called the guys up and told them, I called up Javed Akhtar and told him also
Mhm.
that we won the national award, and Sonu Nigam's won the award for best singer for Kal Ho Na Ho.
Right.
That is a really big thing, actually. And we were kind of thinking, because normally before that, the national awards were more about culture, the regional kind of films, Bengali films and Oriya films and all that, which were like
Mhm.
more like fit into the world cinema kind of thing, not like commercial cinema.
Mhm.
So it was quite a pleasant surprise that they chose like such a commercial song.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Then they did a research. I mean, after the national award, a particular magazine did a research on the top 100 songs in Bollywood. Or
Okay.
let's say in film industry, Bollywood sounds strange. Anyway, but the top 100 songs, and Kal Ho Na Ho was the third.
Mhm.
That says something in the all of India. That many people who they researched it with said that it's like the third best song ever composed in India. That's
Truly.
quite a thing. Yeah.
Truly. And during the early 2000s, I mean, 2000, say 2010, uh,
Huh.
there were a plethora of albums that you created, be it the stylish and edgy Dawn or the innocence of Tare Zameen Par or the free-spirited Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. How do you traverse this emotional and musical worlds so seamlessly? And how do you define the sound's identity of these entire movies for each films? How do you do that?
I think it's just can't really put a finger. I think when we start writing, we just kind of feel our way through the film. There's a certain texture that each film calls for.
Mhm,
And I think really the first song kind of sets the tone for it. We
mhm.
kind of we just seem to find, that song that just fits, and then everything, goes from there.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Ehsaan, you want to add something to that?
I mean, but it also helps a lot that we have knowledge of all this music.
Mhm,
I mean, the thing is that, we, like I said, we don't come from the true Bollywood background per se, but because, so I mean, when Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara had to be made or Dawn, we could fit into that script completely by understanding the music that it required. Like,
mhm.
Jen
mm.
and Emily needed Spanish music, and Lois played that kind of music.
Right.
Or needed jazz, which she's done, or we needed rock, which I've played, or blues, or whatever. So, and the thing is, we've heard all the old Hindi music as well.
Mhm.
So, all of that can be put together into a really lovely song.
Right.
Yeah, lucky to have heard on my dad's old records. So, he had a
Oh,
lot of
really?
stuff. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. So, as a kid, it's being played in the back and you're hearing all these sounds and the influences.
Okay.
And here's a chance to kind of, bring it to, utilize all those influences. So, we just come.
Great, great. So you three, I mean, Shankar Mahadevan, Ehsaan Noorani, and Loy Mendonsa come from three different genres of music. I mean, Shankar obviously has a classical base, and you two have a Western inclination in your music. So, are there any creative differences, or how often do you get these creative differences within yourselves, and who usually wins at the end?
I think the song wins in the end, and I think yes, we definitely have massive, moments of disagreement in the studio. But it's always the song. The song is the king. It decides that hey, this is what's going to work. And I guess sometimes you need to back off a little bit,
Mhm.
and when you come back to it, next day and give it a listen, you know you'll have a clearer picture sometimes.
Okay. Has there any instance where you completely rejected a composition and it was not about to happen, but eventually it released and it became a major hit and it was a surprise? Has it any song of that?
I don't know that side, but I definitely know when they have done an internal assessment of a song, that song was at the bottom of the list, and then when it came out, it was a Kajrari, the one I'm talking about. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to share something more about it, please?
Well, the thing is that Adi Chopra from Yashraj, I mean, one of Yashraj films, he made found a target group of people, mainly people working in the company, who are all hardcore Hindi film music buffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gave them a piece of paper with the names of the songs, starting from 1 to 6. So how I can't remember how many songs. And he said, you hear all the songs and mark them out as to which ones you prefer, which ones you think are good. Give it points from
Mm-hmm.
1 to 10. When they did the research, they found that Chup Chup Ke was the first one, like the best, and the last was Kajarare.
Oh my
And
God.
Adi Chopra, I mean, he didn't flinch, nothing. I mean, he didn't lose hope or
Hmm.
anything. He knew that this song is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
It released, it became the song of the decade. Even now, when we perform Kajare, people
Oh
would,
my.
you know,
True.
yeah. And in fact, even when we composed a song, when I heard it in the studio,
Mm-hmm.
I said, sometimes you hear a tune, like say a tune like Every Breath You Take by the Police, by
Mm.
Sting. When you hear it, it already sounds familiar. You say it sounds like something else, but it's
Right.
not something else. It's that the melody is so simple and good that it's under your skin, before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, Kajare was happening. You heard that Kajara, Kajara. I
Hmm.
felt, I automatically was seeing Diwali in Delhi and weddings and this and that. Because and I'm not from a financial point of view, of course.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from the way that song felt.
Hmm.
And it became that anthem. It is that anthem even now.
So, when you work with multiple directors, like you've worked with Aditya Chopra, as you mentioned, and Excel Entertainment, Dharma Production. So, Farhan Akhtar, Karan Johar, who creatively pushes you more? I mean, how that director's vision reflect on your music as well?
And I think, Law, you want to say that?
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. The thing is that I think, see, it's a very important thing to be part of a team when you're composing. Filmmaking, film music, everything is all you're part of a big whole, you
Hmm.
know, as I mean, WHOLE. So,
Yeah.
and so basically, what you've got to work with the director because you're interpreting the director's film.
Hmm.
He's looking at you for pushing a situation forward by composing a particular kind of song with you. And the thing is, it's very important to be in sync with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes we worked with a couple of directors we're completely out of sync with, and it's not been a disaster, but it's just felt uncomfortable composing for that person. But with
Hmm.
Farhan, and, Karan and Shad Ali, Zoya Akhtar, Rakesh Mehra, all these guys are very solid in terms of their choices of music. And the thing is, they're very open to let the composition free flow. It's
Hmm.
not saying you don't like it the moment it's created. Create it, then wait, or maybe everybody just rejects it together.
Hmm.
But basically, you have to work with the director because you're part of the team.
Right.
Yeah, there's no such thing as instant code.
Okay. Speaking of instant, I'm going to quickly ask you about Instant Karma, which is your, album with Shankar Ehsaan Loy. Se pehle it was Farhad Ehsaan
Yeah,
Yeah,
Loy,
yeah,
as we all
yeah.
know. You want to talk about the independent music that you created and how much of creative freedom do you feel when you compose it for an album, and not for a Bollywood
We
film?
weren't composing. We were doing a lot of the existing songs from the great
yeah, we did,
composers.
Right.
We were
little
just kind of,
complicated.
always trying to figure out if we had to present. I mean, yes, the classic songs, the way it's been done is great, but we were trying to bring it to a little younger generation. How do you get them? I mean, they listen to the earlier one as well, but if we did it in a particular way, will they play it more often and listen to it? And
Hmm.
actually, it was Farad's idea. It was his baby. He said, "Guys, how about this?" And we said, "Great." And we tried to kind of keep the essence of the song intact. Not of course adding a few things in, to bring it up to.
And I
So
must say,
that's the whole.
a lot of our production training, of producing music well,
Hmm.
came from the 3-4 Instant Karma album.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
we did Instant Karma, and at that time, we were
Dilcha
also
Ataya was going on. Yeah.
no,
Oh,
Mukul Anand Das. We were working
Yes,
on
it
that,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
and then he passed away, unfortunately. And basically, all of the stuff that we were learning doing Instant Karma, we were putting onto, producing our own
Yeah.
SEA songs, like the
Yeah.
electronics, textures, and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
Instant Karma was a blast. It was really a
Of
lot of
course.
fun.
Yeah.
you
Of course.
And honestly, I didn't know that the album would become so big, all the albums.
Yeah.
Like when we launched the music of the film, it was done in a big way with the press and all that.
Hmm.
And I was asking Sony Music, man, is it really such a big deal that you're doing this?
Yeah.
It's like you have no idea how this album's going to do. I said, oh man, maybe.
Mm.
Right.
And the album came out, Dil Kya Kare, just shot to the top of the charts.
And it's
Yeah.
history. It's history. Actually, it's history.
Mm.
Yeah, it's really
But
unfortunate the album is not available anymore, but it's
but
because of the Canadian copyright rules. But it's a
yeah,
beautiful album. All the albums are great.
Yeah.
true. Apart from Instant Karma and just two songs from the movie Dawn, we don't see you experimenting with the older songs. I mean, there are no remixes by Shankar Ehsaan Loy. Is there any particular reason that you
Okay,
follow?
just a bit of correction. That album wasn't a remix because the
Yeah.
actual concept of remix is when you use the original artist's voice.
Right.
So it was
Yes.
like a reinterpretation of the music. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
you want to call it a cover? Yes, partly
Yeah.
you could say it is. You
Yeah.
know, uh, that's not really very Indian concept because we tend to touch. Once something is out, it's cut in stone.
Hmm.
And I just see it as like taking a photograph of something. There are 360 degrees to a shooting an object or a scene or whatever. That's the way I look at it. I'm sorry, my take is different. I don't know what you want to say, Ehsaan.
Well, actually, the thing is about
Uh,
doing remixes in the current time. I mean, first of all, I mean, I can see, I've been hearing a lot of those in films. They've done Hamma and this the Hamma
Mm-hmm.
song,
mm,
Evo Evo. But it's a different, I don't know why they're doing it because the idea of doing the remixes or whatever you want to call them as we did,
Mm-hmm.
New World, was about putting out indie music and doing it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Not to fit into film. Though we have done a couple of Apni To Jaisi Taisi, we've done
Right.
in
Hey,
one of the
baby.
films, I can't remember.
A
Yeah,
houseful.
mm.
Houseful. Then we did one old song, this film called Mere Pyare Prime Minister. We
Mm-hmm.
did,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, a V Shantaram song,
Yeah.
which is the only song where but now that was, we actually used the original song.
Yeah.
We didn't recreate it. We actually put the original song and mixed our song into it. So that was a true remix, if you
Right.
hear that. A very true remix.
I'm
So,
curious about your take on the recent album of Dhurandhar and how Shashwat Sajdev is taking Indian music forward. I want to know about your insights about it.
well, I haven't seen the movie and I haven't heard the album either,
I
but a lot of
I've seen
people,
the
yeah.
film and I like the film. It's a lovely storyline. It's what I liked about the fact of the film is that you could with a good script writer you could take any scenes and you could make sense to tie it together. And I think he's done a fantastic job doing that.
Yeah.
And the songs and the background score is beautiful. I mean, I enjoyed it. I wasn't like bored and like tuned out. It was a lovely film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So.
Right. Any particular preferences of the new age or upcoming music directors that you think that they are doing it really great and you kind of are looking forward to them?
That's a
Personally,
tough,
I hardly listen to
yeah.
stuff. I happened to go because I was in Chennai with a friend, and he said, "Hey, let's go and check this film." I said, "Sure." Everyone's talking about it, and I kind of watched it. So, otherwise, I hardly listen. Even I don't watch TV and I don't listen to radio. I don't read newspapers. I'm not on social media. I'm
Okay.
just in my
Yeah.
own world.
So I want to ask you that the music nowadays are being composed and created on the basis of the 30 seconds reel on social media and how it has been evolved day by day and people are using them for content creations. What's your take on that?
Well, it is a contemporary thing that, I guess everyone will have to live with for a little while
Mm-hmm.
till the trend changes and something else comes about.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally feel it's a bit stifling for the composer to think in those terms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've done commercials, we've done jingles and advertising for years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've composed 5 second tracks, ten
Mm-hmm.
second tracks, 20-second tracks. So the thing is that I know it's actually what you do is it's part of a bigger song that you use part of and then put into thing. I think that is more about smart editing as opposed to compositions. I
Mm-hmm.
would in composition, compose a tune for a 30-second reel. It doesn't work
Yeah.
that way.
It
I
becomes like a yeah. It's like a book. Instead of reading a book, you're just reading synopsis of every book.
Right.
You know,
Right.
take
in
any
one
any of
song.
our tunes, or
Yeah.
take
Mm,
anyone else's tune for all you know. I mean,
mm.
take May Who Don, cut that for a 30 seconds. It will be as catchy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Right.
हर पल यहाँ जी बर जियो जो है समा कल होना हो. That will also become a 30-second reel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not about the composition. And if composers think that composition that you have to think composition wise or you have to think reel wise for a composition, then that is a big problem.
True.
You know, yeah.
So you'll be coming very soon to Dallas and you'll be performing at the Choctaw Casino in Durant on the 11th of April. When you perform internationally, do you find that the listeners or the audiences connect more to the nostalgia or your new age music that you create?
Well, it depends, because a show is such a high energy set and so emotionally charged that all of it goes down very well. And the thing is, we did a concert in Mumbai some time back, and there were people in wheelchairs who came for the audience, and for the show. Really old people. I mean, they must have been 75, 80 plus.
Mm-hmm.
And they enjoyed it. They still love our songs. I mean, they were like 50 years old when Kal Ho Na Ho came out, or Dil Chahta Hai came out. So
Right.
and there were much younger people as well, like Gen Z, who
Yeah.
like our
Mm.
thing is that, I mean, even though it may be, maybe blowing our own trumpet, But the thing
Yeah,
is that our music has a certain amount of depth, has a certain amount of class, which carries through.
right.
It's when you take a song, the repeat value of the song is just amazing. I mean, I see our figures on Spotify and the streams and stuff like that. It's pretty large. And that's a big audience liking that stuff. Yeah.
True. I'm going to ask you, and before I let you go, I have to know this. So it's been 30 years almost that you guys are playing together.
Yeah.
If you want a person to hear you out for the first time after 30 years from now, which are the three songs would you like to recommend?
Loy, go for it first. We'll see if we match.
I'll give you one song and one album.
Okay.
I'll give you Kalono and I'll give you Dil Chahta Hai, the album. Because that's a you know,
Yeah.
nice polarity to it.
Does it match with yours?
Actually, Dil Chahta Hai, definitely. I mean, because even that's very popular even now.
Yeah.
I'd say
Yes.
also, I mean, I could include make it four albums. I'd say Dil Chahta Hai, Kal Ho Na Ho, Bunty or Bubbly,
Hmm.
and Rock
June.
On.
Yeah, that was
Because those are
yeah.
four completely like fanned out albums. Completely different to show the kind of music that we've composed. I mean, we literally introduced trance music into house music into Bollywood with Koi Kahe Kehta Rahe. We introduced the whole rock thing with Rock On.
Hmm.
So those are all big landmarks. So that would give you really good idea of our music.
Great. Thank you so much, Ehsaan and Loy, for giving us the time.
Hi, I'm Loy from Shankar Ehsaan Loy, and you're listening to me on FunAsia Radio.
Hi, this is Ehsaan from Shankar Ehsaan Loy, and you're listening to me on Fun Asia Radio.